Hello everybody, welcome back for another video. Hope you're all doing well and that you're all having a great day. A very big thank you to all my new Patreon supporters. More and more every single day, I do thank you. As always, a good way to support the channel is by leaving a thumbs up, by leaving a comment, or by telling me what your favorite cryptocurrency is, because I'm pretty sure people have very different answers. And without further ado, let's jump right into it. All right, you know how it goes. We have a whole bucket full of very interesting news. Bitcoin is incredibly close right now to 50,000 US dollars. For those of you not looking at the screen, it says Bitcoin eyes 50K as traders pause profit taking after Biden's stimulus push. Apparently right now we are getting signs or indications that there is definitely going to be another stimulus package bill. I'm not sure if this is surprising to people. We've been talking about this for a while. It's fairly evident that there was going to be another one because people don't have any money and they need money. And listen, the last couple of checks haven't really, done much for people who have $1,500 rent, but alas, here we are. The idea is multi-pronged. It is the idea that new money would be printed to be pushed out to people, to be pushed into the economy. This new money would cause inflation, thus rising Bitcoin's value because we see the devaluation of the US dollar. The last big check, that was like $1,200 last year. Coinbase, on the day that people were receiving this check, saw a huge spike in Bitcoin purchases, and they were all for exactly $1,200. So it's kind of these ideas, the value of the dollar would lessen, Bitcoin's value would rise essentially because people saw that money was being printed, and the new money that was being sent out to a lot of other people, they would simply use to actually buy into Bitcoin as well. So as you can imagine, the energy is there. The energy is definitely in the air. Talking about where Bitcoin is going to be going next, it says Bitcoin price prediction. Bitcoin draws closer to $50,000 as breakout to $60,000 lingers. And here's what happened. I woke up, here I am, and I looked at the prices as I normally do, and I saw that there was a spike up in price. And when I looked at the price, it said that Bitcoin had gone to $49,910 and then slightly fell back down. I went like this because I was like, we're so close to $50,000. I don't understand why we simply can't break through it. As I'm clicking around, allegedly, it says Bitcoin bounces off of $50,000 as milestone price is finally hit. On this price metric, it shows that Bitcoin actually did go to $50,000. It says after closing in and pulling back several times since last Monday's $7,000 plus Elon candle, Bitcoin finally broke $50,000 during the Asian trading session on Tuesday. That is today. TradingView charts using figures from Binance reported that the peak price was $50,085 around a couple of hours ago. So it appears as though we've hit it. We hit $50,000. There was a slight pullback. And this was the only website saying that this happened. Normally, there's, of course, like an avalanche of websites being like, hey, we did that at the same time. They all kind of have the same similar news, but every other website is talking about we're 49,000 something or other, very close to 50. This one says, according to Binance, that we hit 50,000 US dollars. This one says Bitcoin flashes 2017 bull pattern. Metric suggests price can go as high as $300,000. We've heard that many times before, but from different sources kind of all the time. It goes back to the Plan B $288,000 per Bitcoin thing. What's this one? And it says Bitcoin price will hit Bitcoin price will hit $250,000 in July. If that happens, we're just going to throw a party. I would probably do like a proper 4-hour like actual live stream. Like, not even joking. I'd probably even find like like those really silly, weird New Year's hats that have like all the things like jiggling on them. And I'd try and find one from like 2015 or something stupid like that, just to $250,000 by July is an indication that the US dollar has become mush. Anyway, so the main price news right now has been Bitcoin. There are some other coins that are kind of moving up, but not really, give or take a little tiny bit. But Bitcoin right now just seems to be the actual focus of the market so that we can hit the $1 trillion market cap and that we can... Anyway, that's all the price news that there is, at least at the time of me making this video. And without further ado, let's move on, because the video is going to get a little interesting. Here we go. Morgan Stanley's chief global strategist says that regardless of where the price of Bitcoin goes next, cryptocurrencies are here to stay as a serious asset class. He added that Bitcoin is making progress towards replacing the dollar as a medium of exchange. Once again, the chief global strategist of Morgan. For those of you, Morgan Stanley is a massive, ginormous bank. Like, they're usually spoken in the same sentence as like JP Morgan. Kind of had that same exact ring to it. If you hear Morgan Stanley, like, you know that there's a lot of money behind it. Just telling, I don't know if a lot of people know what Morgan Stanley is. We keep getting news, PDFs, letters from heads of these banks who are constantly announcing that not only is Bitcoin here to stay, Bitcoin's going to be overtaking gold, and Bitcoin's going to be taking over the US dollar. I don't think that people really understand what that means in the long term. It means that the entire economy that we currently see around us is going to be in shambles, and that only the people who are holding cryptocurrencies and Bitcoin are going to be the winners in all of this. You have to understand the significance of Citibank, BNY, JP Morgan, and now Morgan Stanley, and Deutsche Bank. Deutsche Bank openly admitted last week that they're looking for ways to integrate Bitcoin. Do you understand how high Bitcoin's price is going to go? We are going to look at charts in the future and go, my gosh, $50,000 was so cheap for Bitcoin. How did I not buy more? Morgan Stanley's head of emerging markets and chief global strategist Ruchir Sharma published a report entitled Why Crypto is Coming Out of the Shadows on their website last week. He said despite the jitters natural in a 19, cryptocurrencies are rapidly gaining support as an alternative to gold, a store of value, and the dollar as a means of payment. They said, we see fundamental reasons to believe that, regardless of where the price of Bitcoin goes next, cryptocurrencies are here to stay as a serious asset class. I make these videos so that you all, first of all, I'm very happy that tons of people have been making money. Like, I am extremely happy. I see your comments. Believe me, I can't answer, 900 of them in one sitting. But I do see, and I'm very happy that tons of people have been making money. Just understand that the market's going to continue going up because we haven't even heard the actual figures of how much these banks are buying. These banks are not going to be buying a Bitcoin. They're not going to be buying 10 Bitcoin. They're probably going to be trying to buy 5 to 6 figures worth of Bitcoin because they have the money backing behind them. So, Morgan Stanley believes that Bitcoin is here to stay and at some point could replace the US dollar. Can you guess what happened immediately after? Anyone? No one? Anyone? All right, here we go. Counterpoint Global, a $150 billion unit of Morgan Stanley's investment management, has ranked up winnings in mutual fund rankings, and it says it is exploring whether it would be a suitable option for its investors. Whether it would be a suitable option. According to Bloomberg, for the Morgan Stanley unit to move to buy Bitcoin, it would require regulatory approval, but it would further lend legitimacy to the flagship cryptocurrency, which has been seeing its price rise over the last few weeks amid growing corporate adoption. Tesla was actually the gigantic domino that fell and everyone else took notice. Everyone's now rushing, trying their hardest to be able to buy as much Bitcoin as possible. A lot of them are doing it through security offerings or some other type of ways. So this is why they have to go through the SEC, and this is why we have... Who was the company last week? There was some company last week that they announced, they were like, yeah, we actually got SEC approval and we are going to be buying immediately. So the news is, here's the actual Bloomberg article. Morgan Stanley may bet on Bitcoin and $150 billion investment arm. I am going to go out on a limb and say that it's probably not a may, but definitely a yay. They are going to be doing it. Just a matter of when they actually get that thumbs up from the regulators. So, I was going to say it came full circle, but there was no circle that we were talking about. It's more of a, I hope you get it now. When I used to scream and flail and get really annoyed and get really frustrated in 2017, 18, 19, and 2020 about where the market was going, trying to explain to all of you. Keep in mind, this is the news that we've gotten this year. We've had 6 banks come out. It's February. Halfway through February. To basically say that they're getting into Bitcoin. All the news that we had before, for some reason, did nothing to the price. But understand that all those companies and institutions and other banks and countries who announced that they were buying Bitcoin or getting into Bitcoin, they're still buying Bitcoin. So anyway, this will all become quite clear when Bitcoin is nearing 7 figures in price. This is, of course, very major news as Morgan Stanley is ginormous. And I assume it is safe to say that they're probably going to be investing a large chunk of money into Bitcoin as well. Yeah. Hope people get it. Let's move on. Next up. Enterprise business analytics maker MicroStrategy is reportedly building a software product focused on corporate Bitcoin strategies. 2 recent job postings have suggested the firm had previously picked up over $1.5 billion worth of Bitcoin last year and now spends significant efforts in evangelizing the rising asset class. As per posts on the job and corporate networking site LinkedIn, 2 new job positions at MicroStrategy are now available. The post of a blockchain data analyst and a blockchain data engineer. I assume this has to do with, so the news is that they're looking for someone to hire to make like Bitcoin software. I assume this has to do with the fact that for those of you who missed 2 weeks ago, yeah, it was the beginning of February. Michael Saylor, who I believe is the head of MicroStrategy, announced that he was going to do like an online session. You can't do it in a room. To go talk to corporate players and money makers who were interested in getting into the Bitcoin cryptocurrency space. And we had initial reports that I think like 200 companies had signed up or something like that. And then apparently by the time it was the actual thing, I think there were it was somewhere between 5,000 and 10,000 companies who had signed up for it and were like actively watching this guy on a screen as he told them what their strategy should be to get into Bitcoin. So I assume now this is where the software comes in to be able to create something as like not a price metric, but to be able to show, I guess, how strong Bitcoin is or how well it's doing as far as like the mining and the this and the who knows exactly what it's going to come down to. For the everyday average Joe, it's really not that important, but it's fascinating to see without a shadow of a doubt that Bitcoin is not only here to stay, but Bitcoin is going to usurp the US dollar. There's a lot of all the extra news coming up after this is basically about that. We have reached a turning point. We have reached there's big money in the market, and some people can't handle it. They don't want to handle it. And you'll see kind of what they're doing. Anyway, MicroStrategy is creating an enterprise software product focused on Bitcoin. Not surprised, because they see where all this is going. And without further ado, let's jumping into it. Let's move on. We're going to move on. I don't know what's wrong with my English nowadays. Next up, a new report claims that the top Spanish financial markets regulator and the nation's central bank may have released their latest warning about the dangers of crypto investments in an attempt to scare companies in the country away from following Tesla's lead by getting into Bitcoin buying. There are a number of countries, and I'll be frank with you, it's a lot of them, but usually, typically, it's Italy, Greece, and Spain who are kind of lumped into the same kind of pattern, where basically their economies aren't doing well, they haven't been doing well, and they're not going to do well anytime soon, especially over the last year. The events that have taken place, their economies are in complete, like, actual shambles. Like I can build a shamble for you and then destroy it, and that's what the economy kind of looks like. When you talk about people moving money out of their local currency or their fiat currency into something that a government does not control, it kind of rattles some chains, rattles some brains. I don't know what it's something's being rattled along the way as all this is happening. We've gotten to the point now, and I mentioned this was going to happen last year. When the money inside of Bitcoin gets too big, there's no real option for a ban anymore because the rich people kind of control politicians. I don't know how really else to put that eloquently. It's more of a, we know who makes the actual laws. It's the laws that benefit the rich people in every single country. It's just how it is. It shouldn't be this way, but alas, here we are in this dystopian future. But what ends up happening is if all these rich people are into it, you can't really tell them no because they kind of write your paycheck. And at the same exact time, if they're getting into it, you kind of have to try and tell other people, hey, don't get into it as well. And you're going to see that pattern flowing through the entirety of the next couple of tabs. Earlier this week, the Banco de España and the Regulatory National Securities and Market Commission issued a joint statement doubling down on a 2018 warning about the volatility of crypto. In their latest statement, the bodies issued what media outlet El Español termed as a forceful alert. The joint statement made mention of crypto's high risk nature, calling it very volatile and adding that crypto assets were not suitable for small scale savers. So that is a double smack in the face. A lot of governments have put out or issued warnings basically saying that if you don't have the money, you're a little bit too stupid and you won't know what to do with it. And that's, you'll see, I promise I have the tabs open. This has been mimicked by many different countries where they tried to create cryptocurrency laws that basically said if you are rich enough, it didn't say it explicitly in this way, but you'll see, I promise you. It basically said if you have the expertise and the know-how how to already deal with money, and you can prove to the government that you already have the cash, well, then therefore you can get into cryptocurrency trading. I'm telling you, people are going to be very upset when they see in multiple countries that Bitcoin has hit $500,000 and their government banned them from being able to buy it, trade it, hold it, or anything. Being able to buy it and hold it is one thing. Being able to trade it is another. If you don't want your citizens trading, I mean, it's terrible because, they should have their own freedom. But the other point is if you don't want them trading, sure, that's one thing. But allowing them to buy it over the counter and hold it as a savings method or just something that they believe in. Like, you're not stopping them from buying gold. You're not stopping them from buying diamonds. You're not stopping them from buying anything else but Bitcoin. That's too dangerous for them. So, here's the actual thing right here. It's all in Spanish. So if you can read Spanish, go for it. It basically says around here, it's about like their volatility and doing this, and it's quite dangerous and people shouldn't be getting into it. This is all being done because they see where this is moving to. Who has the power? He who prints the money. What happens when he who prints the money no longer controls the monetary supply? What happens to his power? That's right. And this is what we're seeing right now. I was going to say it's bittersweet. It's not at all. It's just actually sweet in its own kind of way. Anyway, so that's the news from Spain. Warning was to spook companies planning Tesla. That means that they've gotten indications that there are multiple companies within Spain who are like, we need to also buy Bitcoin. And the craziest part is, whenever we get news in some sort of way of like a mega company buying, it's usually because that company wants to be public in some sort of way. They want to let people know, look at what we have. For every one company that does that, there are 9 more who are buying secret. You will not know until they are forced or the SEC tells them that they have to say it out loud, but they're buying through subsidiaries. Be not confused, my children's. There are tons of companies who are buying. You do not get warnings like this because a country's like, well, just in case. No, they know that they're buying. And first of all, the euro's garbage. The dollar's garbage. They're all these things at some point in the future. If Bitcoin never existed, we're going to collapse. I think the average lifespan of a typical fiat currency is between 40 to 60 years. And at that point, usually, it's usually even shorter for other countries. They always collapse. There's always a big fall, and people say, well, we didn't know what we were doing, but we're going to make a new one. And then they make a new currency, and it's better than the other one, and it has a very small supply, and then eventually, as you know, kind of collapses. But we are just we're witnessing. We are actually every single day. If you haven't been paying attention the last year to outside and also on your computer, we are witnessing the actual history, like the changing of the world. So anyway, that's the Spain news about the dangers and volatility of cryptocurrencies. And let's move on. What? That's crazy. The same exact thing. Thailand Securities and Exchange Commission will conduct a public hearing this month to gauge what qualifications should be imposed on retail investors, that's everyday normal people, opening new cryptocurrency trading accounts. I'm pretty sure you see exactly where this is going. According to a report by the Bangkok Post on Sunday, the regulator is concerned for investor safety. Yeah, I'm sure. Amid the recent meteoric rise in cryptocurrency prices and the resulting flood of signups to local exchanges, the regulator aims to determine if new crypto investors have enough experience and are in a financial position. Do you hear all of this? The regulator aims to determine if new crypto investors have enough experience and are in a financial position to absorb the risks associated with cryptocurrency trading and volatile price swings. Oh boy, how nice it is to go, you guys have no idea what you're doing. This is exactly what happened with the Wall Street Bets thing. If you haven't been watching like little mini documentaries, because there's tons of little mini things, but even like Business Week put out something. Bloomberg has been putting out things like on YouTube. You can find these like 20 to 40 minute videos of the things that kind of took place. And this is idea that it was everyday normal people who didn't know about the stock market, who figured out, they read what was going on in the stock market, figured out what a short was and all these other things, and basically played the market as it should have been played. But the people at the top, the people at the very top of the pyramid, assume that you do not know what any of these things are. They assume you're almost said some crazy words. You understand what I'm saying. So the idea that normal people could be getting into financial markets, no, these people have to be idiots. We have to make sure that they know exactly what's going on. They do know exactly what's going on. They know that fiat currencies are swiftly being replaced. Regulators know that Bitcoin is rising too fast for them to be able to control. We get new people into the Bitcoin market every single day. It's not like one new person is being added to the market every single day. There are probably tens of thousands of people around the world who are getting into Bitcoin every single day, just buying fragments of it. We got leaked information that the US dollar from these mega banks, the US dollar is going to slide down and Bitcoin could potentially reach 650. Once again, Bitcoin only has to reach $250,000 to be able to actually rival the US dollars. Was it JP Morgan Chase or Citibank? Doesn't matter. Two mega banks announced that Bitcoin's price could next year hit 650,000 US dollars. What does that do to the US dollar? What does that do to the yen? What does that do to the euro? What does that do to the rand? What does that do to all these other currencies? It decimates them. But you can't let people have control over their own money. They don't know what to do with it. Remember yesterday's video about the central bank digital currencies and the things that they're making, and they're talking about, well, what happens if people aren't spending? Well, you put a negative interest rate. You make sure that they do spend. Well, what happens when you have a big red button? Well, what happens when there's always an answer for a central bank digital currency, because they're looking for extra ways to be able to. They already control everything. Imagine controlling every single thing and you want more control. Now imagine somebody 12 years ago create something in a basement, in a stock room, I have no idea what I'm saying, that allows everyone. Do you understand how powerful Bitcoin is? It allows everyone to use it. There are no restrictions. The only restriction you have is buy a computer, buy a phone. Bam, you're on the network. So right now, they're trying to decide to see if everyday normal people should have access to the markets. It's ridiculous. We should set some screening criteria such as age, trading experience, and level of revenue or wealth to limit risks. I'm sorry, you're too poor to make money. Can you please step aside? That's basically what that entire thing just said. Adding that such measures are already in place for high yield bonds, which are only available to certain investors. We're not talking about a bond. We're not talking about a stock. We're talking about a payment method, a fragment of a network that runs 24 hours a day and allows 7.4 billion people on the planet to use it as they wish, to transact value. We are not talking about a high yield bond. We're not talking about a security. We're not talking about a commodity. We are talking about a payment system that is for everyone. But you have to decide who can and cannot use it. You have to make sure that poor people don't get into the market, that they stay away from it. People are going to be furious when their governments, with a gigantic S, decide you're too poor, stay out of the market, it's too risky. When Bitcoin goes to $1 million and these people realize, I had $800 that I could have put into this market, I could have made a couple $100,000 and I could have bought my family a house. People are going to be furious. And who do you think they're going to be furious at? I don't understand this level. If you are really concerned about the actual investors and the little people, explain things to them. Don't simply put blockades in front of them and go, we did this for your safety. Explain to them what volatility means, how volatility will decrease as Bitcoin's price goes higher. Let them have all the news and then decide for themselves. Let them know all these mega companies and all these institutions and all these banks are buying up tons of Bitcoin and what that means for the future price and where the price could potentially go. If you need to, have them sign a piece of paper. I am putting $500 into Bitcoin. I understand the risks. Have them watch a 1-hour video and let them understand exactly where the market is going, what could potentially happen to it, and how it could, it's not, go to zero. Okay? You signed the paper, you saw the video, and this 500, have fun with your Bitcoin. This level of control is not going to last very long. There was news that I saw it was about a day ago. What was the country? I keep forgetting. Oh my gosh, I keep forgetting every single day. The country in Africa. I keep wanting to say Kenya, but I feel like that's not it. I know I'm terrible. I feel someone writing in the comment section the actual name of the country, where they just banned cryptocurrencies. And how basically young people there don't give a fudge at all. They are still finding ways to use it, as are many other people. It's been banned in a couple of other countries as well. And, the internet. People buy a phone and they still download a wallet. People still buy mining equipment and they still start mining for themselves. Oh my gosh. It's a real shame because there are so many people around the world who need to be in this market. It is going to create wealth for them. They are going to live very happy lives if they're in this market. But alas, the regulators find ways to scare them. For those of you who weren't here at the end of 2017 and the first 5 months of 2018, we had stuff like this, but it was a bit more intense. It was basically, and I mentioned by the 5th time, I was like, okay, I got it. By the week after week, and it was always on like a Tuesday or a Wednesday, it was coordinated. Every country came out behind another country basically saying, we're thinking of banning Bitcoin, 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 and it was over and over and over, and I was like, it's weird that they're saying this all at the same time. And then we had news by the middle of the year that all that was done basically to kind of slam the cryptocurrency market back into the ground because regulators and banks had become so afraid at that point that Bitcoin was already $20,000 and was probably going to shoot up to $30,000 and people would lose complete faith in the US dollar and in fiat currencies. But you can't stop the movement forward. It's already happening. This is why I think it's so fascinating that Bitcoin keeps hitting these new, high numbers, but we do not hear about it on actual everyday news platform. I hate the term mainstream media because it's thrown around way too much. Maybe I'm just hipster that way. But I find it fascinating that everyday normal people aren't hearing about all these moves. Because can you imagine what would happen if retail investors, the people who are too stupid to know what to do into the market, if they got this information daily, if they heard 7 banks are integrating Bitcoin, the largest companies in the planet are buying Bitcoin, The richest people on the planet are buying Bitcoin. It looks like Bitcoin's price could rise to this high. What do you think would happen to Bitcoin's price? But you can't have that. You have to make sure that your citizens are left in the dark, that they don't know what's going on, that you tell them about the risks. Risks, there are always risks, but there are also risks in buying gold. There's risks in buying diamonds as investments. There's risks in buying real estate. It could go up in flames. It could get flooded. There are earthquakes. There are storms. There are tornadoes. There are bad tenants. There are tons of risks. Why is this one at the forefront of who? Like, how many of you have ever heard that you can't buy a house unless you go through the SEC? Sounds a little weird, right? Here's the Bangkok Post. SEC schedules hearing for cryptocurrency trading. Oh boy, what's this one? Yes, as well. It says a wave of giants rushing to invest in Bitcoin could derail the stock market. It's going to, because the stock market is also nonsense. We know that the stock market's value is also complete nonsense. That's the only word I can find in my head right now. We know that they pump up prices, and we know that things are inflated. We know that the government printed trillions of dollars to push into the markets. Like, this isn't tinfoil hat news. Like, we know this happened because the people from the SEC and the people who were printing money from the Fed last year announced this all to us. There was a video of it. Well, we print however much we need, and then we throw it into the markets to make sure that the markets are secure. We know that hedge funds are garbage. We know that hedge funds try desperately to do whatever they can. You know, the smear campaigns that hedge funds run in order to be able to destroy a company while they're shorting it, and it's all legal. It's absolutely terrible. So the stock market should have crashed years ago. The 2008-2009 crash was only fixed by printing money, pushing it into the market, having hearings saying, you destroy the economy. You destroy the lives of billions of people. What do you have to say? Not guilty. All right, you can go. He said he's not guilty, so he clearly didn't do it. They threw money at it, told more people to buy into the stock market, and all the housing that got decimated and was made worthless by these banks and corporations and hedge funds, they bought it all up. And property prices began to rise, and people went, wow, the economy is recovering. It's recovering because they wanted it to recover. I saw something a day or two ago discussing about once again, I know the topic is whatever, but the Wall Street bets thing and how these people are basically like, it's now like a dogma for them. It's now like an ingrained indoctrinated in them. Yes, indoctrinated in them, that they are going to do it when they want, how they want, to be able to destroy terrible hedge funds. Because they now know how to do it. And the momentum is only going to continue as well. Anyway, oh boy. And I guess to finish off this topic, for those of you who don't know, this happened a couple of years ago. So you're seeing a trend. It happened in Spain, it's happening in Thailand, and it also happened in Russia as well. This is from 2017. Russia signals willingness to professionalize cryptocurrency trading on exchange. They basically had said, if you're a qualified investor, if you are rich, you can get into crypto. And I don't know if they have the numbers somewhere around here. Probably not. I think the number was $3,000 if you were not a professional. I think that's the maximum that you could actually put into the cryptocurrency market, but there was no maximum for rich people. So the idea was, and I caught this very, very quick. So wow, that's funny. So the people who are already wealthy, they get disgustingly wealthier. But everyone else, you got to keep them at the bottom. You got to make sure that poor people stay poor. Remember when all those people made $14,000, $57,000 from trading GameStop? And these hedge funds went on TV talking about throwing people in prison, market manipulation. How dare you try to do something like this? There was a guy, I don't know if you saw it. Find those videos. There's definitely some from Bloomberg and like all these other YouTube channels. You can definitely the major news financial outlets. They had like a compilation of one of them. And there was this guy, he said, the real shame here is that you got these young guys going onto these apps and, they're trading and, doing stuff for 2 and 3 hours. But, the real shame is that they're not finding girlfriends, and they're not finding time to go out and play basketball and, be physically fit and eat right. That's the real shame. They're I kid you not. I'm not joking. He said this. He's like they're wasting their time trying to make money when they could be building new relationships with people. And I was like, you people are monsters. People who were trading GameStop didn't make trillions of dollars. They didn't make billions. I think very few made millions. These people were making enough money to be able to pay medical bills, to be able to pay off their university debt, to be able to eat. They don't have jobs. And you're talking about how it should be illegal and how the SEC should be enforcing more rules to stop them from day trading when they're doing exactly what the market was made for. Oh, also really good part. We found out, this is also not a tinfoil hat thing, the guy from Robinhood basically said the reason why they shut down trading for Dogecoin and also for GameStop is because they didn't have enough liquidity. The way that their thing works, I believe it is like free trading, but the company has to, I think, prepay other companies for the trades that are being done. And at that point, I think on a day-to-day basis, the trades were worth around $3 billion that they had to pay to their counterparty, but they couldn't afford it. So they had to shut it down so that they could actually afford to pay it. The next day, they had emergency raised $1 billion, and the day after, they also emergency raised another $2 billion to be able to pay off that money. So funny how time works, because there were people asking this guy in interviews, they were like, why'd you shut it down? Well, it's about the consumer and protecting them from their, being able to trade, and the volatility was just too high. And they found him 5 days later, and he was like, yeah, we didn't have the money to be able to pay. Multiple countries have put forward propositions, and I'm sure some of these have gone through. I haven't. I'm sorry for not having rechecked in on these countries. To basically say, you don't have enough money, we won't let you make any more. Why do you think governments it's the fact that fiat is also crumbling. It's because normal people are entering a financial system. Imagine spending 100 years creating a financial system that only benefits the rich. And then cryptocurrencies come along. You got Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP, Litecoin, Baja, all these other coins that allow normal people to get into them. Remember that if you didn't watch yesterday's video where I went over the prices in the past and the long ago, normal people were putting $500 into the market, making $150K. There was a guy in Sweden or wherever this guy was. He put a couple hundred into the market, and within 3 or 4 years, he was able to buy his own apartment, buy your own car, buy your own house. Well, you can't allow that. You can't allow normal people to be able to have money. How do you control them? You have to tell them you're broke. You have to go to work. There's no other option. You're sad because you have to buy things. And then you're sad because you bought those things. I don't have any money. So what do? You go back to work again for 8 hours for some job that you hate doing, when the entire time, imagine if governments told everyone, invest, put your money away. You don't have to work 40 hours a week. You can work about 5 to 10 hours a week at a job that you actually like. You can find the job that you like because you're investing. And that money that you've invested, you can have passive income. That actually pays your bills every single month. You know how crazy that sounds? Because that's not how it works. You only control people through the money. This is why Bitcoin is important. Anyway, 2018, Russian Ministry of Finance to legalize cryptocurrency trading on approved exchanges. It was the same exact thing. If you have enough money, you can do it. We have to know who's doing it, and you have to have enough money. It's the only way to be able to enter the market. People are going to be upset. As always, a very special thank you to my Patreon supporters: Bolero Bastos, Crayola Michelle URL, On Crypto with Lionel, Tigara Machonisa, Bake Me a Cake, Arfmedic17, Anytime Fitness, Monk's Corner Staff, Bodie McBoatface, Yes to Crypto, Miller Hitch Test Every Day, and Kyle Skips Leg Day, Minting Coins, Jeremy Fox, Jim Gardner, Anthony Charles, Nick Mangialavori, Paxis, Vlad the Impaler, Richie Rich 3, Setsuna, Damien, Crypto Artist, Cole D, 3D, Bankroll Network, 242 to the World, Wise Night Owl, Jared Schneider, Master Ventures in Thailand, Mohammed Maruni, Adam Graysick, Todd Mullis, a Bibliophobia, the Animal Reader, John Sarson, Nostromo, Martin Storio, Joshua Vineyard, Moonman High, XRP, Utopia 569, Oscar Maldonado, Yasha Harari, Attila the Han, David James, Navarro Williams, Auspicious Agile and Blockchain, Tolek Banan, Snacky Chan, Conan, Don't Skip Leg Day, George Montoya, Wiselink, Not TMI, Crypto Stahl, Need a Miracle, Space Case, Troy Allgood, Barebones Mining, Quoted Biddy, Lauren De Silva, Miguel Grolet, VB Nerd 21, and Jojo Shaw Show, there we go, and Professor Wally from Gunbot University. Thank you all very, 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 very much for your support. Thank you to all the new Patreon members. Thank you to everyone who left a like. Thank you to everyone who left a comment with an S. Thank you to everyone who has subscribed. Hello to all the brand new people. Thank you to everyone who is a clicker of affiliate links. And thank you to everyone in general for still being here, if you are still here at the moment. You see, that's the spike right there. That was apparently the 50,000, but on this metric, it said 49,900 something. We're currently at $49,078. When the rest of the world begins to wake up, just please go past 50,000. I like the suspense is destroying my soul inside. It is just please do it at this point. Ethereum's at 1,800. Cardano's up by 9%. It is at 88 cents. Polkadot's up by 16%. It's rising all the time. It looks like Polkadot's about to pass by Cardano, unless Cardano decides to have a further push and then passes by Tether, and then Tether passes damage done. Anything else crazy? Litecoin's up by 6%. Anything else? Dogecoin is down by 18%. I assume this maybe has to do with the Elon Musk news, for those of you who didn't see it. Elon Musk basically said that he would put his full support behind Dogecoin, like full support, if the richest wallet holders, owners, richest people sold off a lot of their coins, because the wallets are a bit centralized at the moment. I think there's like 3 wallets that hold the vast majority of the Dogecoin, and I guess maybe they said no. Not really sure. Cosmos is up by 24%. IOTA's up by 16%. But no, it's really, I don't know why IOTA keeps pumping every single day. Something must be happening behind the scenes with it. We had news before. The biggest news was that I believe it was Jaguar or Land Rover that were adding them as a payment option, but that was like 2018. Maybe it's finally going through. Who knows? Luna's up by 8%. Maker's up by 6%. Huobi Token's up by 5%. Compound's up by 6%. Elron Gold is up by 8%. Wonderful. Kusama's up by 32% because, Kusama's being bought up by all the banks. So I'm glad Bitcoin's not going up by 32% because that would make too much sense. That would make way too much sense. I do hope you all enjoyed. I do hope that you all have continued to have a great day, a great morning, a great afternoon, a great evening, wherever you are, wherever you might be. I do hope that is absolutely fantastic. Thank you all once again for watching and or listening, and I will most certainly be talking to you all soon. See you.